So picture this. You're in the middle of filming and suddenly your Sony ZV-E1 dies. Your light dies, your action cam dies, everything dies, the batteries are gone, and you've got cables everywhere. What if one battery could power all of this? That's exactly what the NEEWER PS099F promises. So the PS099F is what's called a V-Mount battery. Now, what is a V-Mount battery, you might ask? Simply put, a V-Mount battery is a professional-grade rechargeable lithium-ion battery named after the V-shaped locking mechanism on its back. It slides onto a corresponding V-mount plate where it can latch into place securely and it's not going to go anywhere. You lock it in with a simple push and twist. For solo creators and small crews who need to move fast, V-mount batteries solve several problems at once. The first problem they solve is they'll power everything from one source. This means you don't have to juggle a bunch of proprietary camera batteries, separate power banks, and charger bricks. The V-mount battery takes care of everything. The second thing this accomplishes is dramatically longer run times. For example, on the Sony ZV-E1, the Sony battery has about 16 watt-hours of power. The PS099F, on the other hand, holds 99 watt-hours of power. That's roughly 6 times the capacity of that one Sony battery. On a long shoot, that's the difference between babysitting batteries all day and just getting your work done. And a really important factor about this is there's a lot more mini V-mounts out there now. Traditionally in the past, these used to be very bulky and very heavy, but a lot of companies had been making smaller and smaller mounts for these batteries, and that's made them dramatically lighter and smaller. So for run and gun specifically, the value proposition is simple. Fewer interruptions, fewer cables, fewer things to track, and more confidence that your gear will stay powered through the entire shoot. And this particular battery from NEEWER offers several incredible features, including 6 ports, 100-watt USB-C, an OLED display, and an airline-friendly size. So if you own a Sony camera, if you own an action camera, if you're a vlogger or just a content creator on the go, you're definitely going to want to learn more about this battery. Let's quickly talk about what you get in the box. In the box, you get the PS099F battery, you get a D-tap cable, and you also get port dust covers. And these are pre-installed on all ports, which is really nice. But it is worth noting a USB-C cable does not come included with the battery. So in order to charge this battery via USB-C, you want to make sure you have one of those power delivery 100-watt bricks and cable available. That way you can charge this as quickly as possible, but you also have that cable that can support the maximum wattage output. And it is worth noting this power bank is available in different colors, including orange or green, which makes this a fun differentiating factor from other competitors. I just have the black one here because I just like that simple black look. It goes nice with my cameras. But if you want some fun colors, NEEWER does offer that. And as far as build quality goes, this does have a fireproof PC V0 shell on it, which means this does pass a fire resistance rating. And as far as the feel goes, this is palm-sized. It's not massive, anything like that. It fits pretty well in the palm, even like this. And it is 4.4 inches by 2.9 inches by 2.2 inches. And it weighs just 1.3 pounds or 590 grams. And the other thing I like is it's got these nice grips on the side. This makes it really easy for mounting it and dismounting it. It's really easy to get on and off because of those grips. But then the rest of it, where you don't need to grip it, it's nice and smooth, which I appreciate. And coming over here to the front is that nice OLED display that I talked about earlier. It is 1.12 inches and it shows the voltage, current, charge percentage, and runtime. And as far as what each of the ports support, the USB-C port supports a max of 100-watt power delivery, which equates to about a 3-hour charge time. The input for the D-tap is a max of 16.8 volts and 8 amps. And the input for the BP port is 16.8 volts and 8 amps as well. When it comes to output for the ports, the USB-C port will output a max of 100 watts. The USB-A will output a max of 24 watts. The BP will output a max of 14.5 volts and 14 amps. The D-tap will output a max of 14.5 volts and 14 amps. And the DC 8 volt will output a max of 8 volts or 3 amps. And I don't want to forget about that 12 volt output as well. That port can output a max of 12 volts, 3 amps. And this battery does have some important BMS protections on it. It'll protect against short circuiting, over voltage, over current, overcharge, over discharge, overpower, and over temp. That is a lot of over protections. And you may have seen the older model of this for Neewer, so I want to briefly mention what this model has upgraded. The PS099F is the upgraded version of the PS099E. The key upgrades are there's an extra DTAP port for both input and output via DTAP. The 099E had DTAP output only on some configs. This model also supports more charging protocols on the USB-C and USB-A. And versus the competition from a competitor like Smallrig, this battery remains more affordable than the Smallrig VB99 SE. And that Smallrig battery has a lot of similarities to this battery, but I want to highlight some of the differences in case you're in the market looking at both of these. One of the differences is the DTAP input. This has that. The Smallrig does not. With the USB-C output, this one from Neewer supports several more protocols than the one from Smallrig. This one supports PD 3.0, QC23, SCP, DCP, and Apple 12 watt. But the Smallrig VB99 SE, that only supports the 65 watt PD 3.0. And as far as USB-A output, it's a very similar story. The USB-A output is 24 watts at QC23, SCP, DCP, and Apple 12 watt. But on the Smallrig VB99 SE, it's just 15, 27, or 30 watt output via the USB-A. And this Neewer battery is a lower cost currently than the Smallrig one. So if you're in the market for the best bang for buck, you definitely want to check this one out. So next, I'm going to show you 5 different use cases that I personally have for this battery. Use case number 1 is with my Sony A-series cameras. So I own the Sony a7R IV, which I use for photography. I also own the Sony a7S III, which I use for videography. In addition, I own the Sony ZV-E1, which I use for videography, but primarily for vlogging because it is a little bit lighter and it's a little more portable than the a7S III. So the way in which I use this is I use this primarily with my gimbal from DJI. And what I do is I have that Neewer V-Mount battery plate and I connect that to my gimbal. I mount this on there and then I use this to power those Sony cameras when I have them on my gimbal. But sometimes with my photography camera, the a7R IV, I don't always have that on a gimbal. Sometimes I just have it on a traditional tripod. So you can connect this to the V-mount on a traditional tripod as well. Or sometimes what I do is I just use a couple pieces of Velcro and I Velcro this to the tripod to power it. It's easy enough and it's a practical way to do it without needing the V-mount itself. Use case number 2 that doesn't even necessarily involve V-mounting this is with my action cameras. So what I like to do is I like to charge some spare batteries when I'm on the go. And for my GoPro camera, for instance, I can use the USB-A port on here to charge the dual batteries while I'm filming with my GoPro with another battery. So this can be charging 2 at once, and this can be in a backpack, something like that, or a camera bag, charging those while I'm using the other. And then when my other battery is exhausted, I'm gonna have 2 batteries ready to go, and then I can pop that other battery in and continue the charging process. This will charge a lot of GoPro batteries before it's out of power. And of course, with my DJI and Insta360 cameras, I can use the USB-C port on here to fast charge those. So if I'm taking a break from filming and I've got about 15-20 minutes, this can take a lot of those batteries from 0 to 80% in that short amount of time. Use case number 3 that I use this for is whenever I need a light while filming, I can power the light from the port on here. And depending on the light, it can be via the USB-C port or it can be one of the DTAP ports. So I can have that light powered continuously on here while I'm filming, and I don't have to have a separate power bank or power source for that light. And I can run both the camera and the light from this at the same time, as I mentioned at the beginning. And use case number 4, in a more general sense, this is an on-the-go charging hub. So not only can I power my action camera batteries, but I can also power my smartphone, I can power my MacBook. All of that can be done via the USB-C port. Because it'll output 100 watts, it's possible to charge both of those well on the go. So as I mentioned earlier, this is airline friendly because it's under the 100 watt-hour threshold. So if you want to bring this along on an airplane to power those devices or charge them, you can easily do so and it's not going to be a problem. And of course, use case number 5 is charging this battery. So if you have at least a 65 watt input, it's gonna take about 3 hours to charge this up. But you also can charge this up via a DTAP charger, or you can charge this via a BP charger. Now, I don't charge it via the D-tap or the BP, I just use the USB-C. That's fast enough for me. But I did want to mention that you can charge it using the D-tap and the BP. And going back to this display really quick, when you have several things hooked up at once, you can see how much power each of those is drawing, and you can also see just the overall percentage of how much power is left on the battery. So that OLED display is really nice because you're not left wondering how much is remaining. You can have a real-time gauge to know approximately how much is still there. So let's talk about some pros and cons of this battery. One of the obvious pros is the 6 input and output ports. That is a lot of ports packed into a battery of this size. And being able to do the D-tap input and output at the same time, simultaneously, is a very nice feature. When you can charge from and power using D-tap simultaneously, that can really help you maintain the power in here for a long, long time, if you're in that type of shooting environment. This does have a competitive price versus Smallrig and other brands, so it makes this a really solid bang for your buck. It does have the USB-A and USB-C with all of those protocols that are supported, so that makes this very flexible. You can power and charge a lot of different devices with this. Of course, the OLED screen with the real-time monitoring, that's a huge perk. The fireproof V0 housing plus BMS, that's also great for safety. This being airline approved, and this having the fun colors, if that's what you would like. But a few cons of this, there is no USB-C cable included. Now I get it, USB-C cables are everywhere now. They're not that expensive, even to get one that delivers the 65 watts or higher. But it would be nice if that was included, but I get it, if it was, the price would have to be higher on this. But that is worth mentioning. If you don't have a lot of USB-C cables sitting around like I do, you'll want to make sure you have one. Another con, if you want to call it a con, is the plastic housing on here. In a way, the metal can feel better in the hand without adding a lot of extra weight. But I also kind of understand that because metal can get scratched more easily. And if you're going to be using this on the go, it's probably going to get dinged up more quickly than with the plastic housing. But if you like that metal, like I do, it's just a cosmetic thing, but I kind of put that in the con category. So finally, who is this battery for? This battery is for solo creators who need a single battery to power everything. That is where this battery really shines. So it's great for Sony shooters who don't want to have to buy a ton of batteries. Those batteries are actually very expensive. And then you have to carry them all around with you. You have to keep track of which ones are charged, which ones aren't. You take a risk of losing them. So it's really nice to have this right here that equals about 6 of those batteries. This, of course, is also for action cam creators. If you want to keep those batteries charged on the go, this is excellent for that. In addition, this is great for your smartphone, MacBook, or tablet on the go. And of course, those of you who need an airline approved solution, but also want to have a lot of power, this is pretty much the max you can have for power on an airline. So this is really nice for that use case. So if you're looking for a compact, affordable V-mount battery that does it all, I highly encourage you to check out the NEEWER PS099F. This is a truly hard one to beat, and this battery is an excellent bang for your buck. I've linked to this in the description below, and I've also shared a discount code from Neewer.